I'm gonna make a green bean casserole, but I'm gonna make it my way. All right, I'm gonna thinly slice 1 large red onion, and I'm gonna marinate it or have it sit in buttermilk for a couple of hours until it's time to fry. And the reason I like for my onions to sit in buttermilk, of course, so the flour and the dredge will stick to the onions. All right, so I have my onions here, thinly sliced. I'm gonna add some buttermilk just to submerge it into the bowl. I'm gonna let these hang out in the fridge until it's time to dredge and fry. All right, put that in there. So my green bean casserole starts off with fresh green beans that I'm snapping. You gotta take the ends off, the rough ends. And I'm just gonna boil them really quick, get them nice and soft. I'm gonna make a bechamel sauce with a little garlic powder, some milk, some sherry, which is typical in low country cuisine. I'm gonna bake it off and put crispy red onions on top. I'm snapping about 2 pounds of green beans, and this will be enough for a 9 by 13 casserole. I'm gonna boil them for a few minutes till they get a little soft. Remember, I'm gonna finish cooking it in the oven. While that's boiling, I have some baby bella mushrooms here. I'm gonna add it to my casserole. So there's green beans and mushrooms. I'm just gonna saute them in my cast iron skillet here with a little bit of butter. And when I saute them, I'm just gonna draw out some of that water because mushrooms do have a tendency to carry a lot of water. Hit it with some salt, help extract some of the water out of the mushrooms. I know when mushrooms are done cooking when the color starts to turn from this kind of like a grayish white to like a darker brown color. I want to grab my green beans because they're done, drain them and get them on some ice to stop the cooking process. Don't want them to cook anymore because I do have to put them in the oven. So the mushrooms look great. I'm gonna take them out and start my bechamel sauce, which is basically a cream sauce. I'm basically making a cream of mushroom sauce. The start of a bechamel sauce is normally butter and flour, then milk. All right, so I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of flour. That's how it gets nice and thick. And I'm basically making a roux. Add a little bit of my sherry in there. I'd say about a 1/4 cup of sherry. Typically in a bechamel sauce, you will not find sherry. Just wanna give it a dry type of wine flavor. I'm gonna add in about 2 cups of milk. And you actually want to use a whisk because you got to break down the flour, otherwise you'll have clumps of flour in your bechamel. Now I want to season my bechamel with cracked black pepper and some garlic powder. Starting to smell that. It's going to take about 5 minutes until the sauce gets nice and thick. I want to actually add back my mushrooms at this time. So this is perfect texture that I'm looking for. It just coats the spoon. I want to turn it off. Let me grab my onions. Super simple dredge. I'm gonna use about a cup of flour, a heavy teaspoon of my all-purpose seasoning. Just in case you don't know, I got some sweet paprika, some onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper. So just covering the onions in the flour. I have some oil that I have nice and hot back there in a cast iron skillet. I'm just gonna drop it in the oil, fry it up, super simple. Drop it like it's hot, because it is. They're golden brown. I'm gonna drop them off here. Got my green beans. So I'm gonna assemble the casserole, put the cream of mushroom in there, bake it off for a little bit, and then put the onions on later. I want it to still stay crispy on top. I'm gonna add my cream of mushroom right into this casserole dish. Mix it up. All right, I'm gonna pop my green bean casserole in the oven. Again, the oven is at 350. I wanna let this bake uncovered for about 15 to 20 minutes. All right, my green bean casserole is done. Oh man, look at that. Nice and bubbly and creamy. Ooh, that smells good. Last but not least, add those fried onions on top. And I like a lot of onion. I'm gonna put all of the onions on top there.
Today I'm gonna show you how to make a Thanksgiving leftovers hot dish. So we're just gonna make a homemade cream soup, layer it up with leftover turkey and wild rice, and then top it with the best part, stuffing. So if you're cooking along with me, make sure you have all of your Turkey Day leftovers handy. Let's get started with the cream soup. Get a big pot or brazier heating over your stove at medium heat, and then melt 6 tablespoons of butter. You still have butter left over after Thanksgiving, right? Okay, just let your butter melt and then let's get chopping up our carrots. So to chop these up, I like to just chop them in half this way and then chop them the hot dog way. And then chop them lengthwise into nice small pieces. And then turn them to the side and then chop them into dices. Okay, so we're making a hot dish. What's a hot dish? A hot dish is a type of casserole that's essentially a full meal in a casserole dish. So you've got your protein, you've got some veggies, you've got a starch, and then it's all held together by a cream soup mixture, or sometimes a tomato soup mixture, but that's neither here nor there. Today we're making a really creamy take on a classic, a wild rice hot dish, and it's gonna be awesome because we're gonna use up all of our Thanksgiving leftovers. So I like to start with my carrots because they take longest to cook. So I'll just finely dice these. I love hot dishes because they're the type of food that you want to eat when it's cold outside and maybe raining or snowing. And my favorite thing to do is just sit on the couch underneath the blanket and eat a big bowl of hot dish. And a great part about this hot dish is that you can switch up the veggies, you can switch up the meats, you can do different flavorings in the soup, different herbs and such. So if you have some green bean casserole left over, you could totally toss that in. If you have corn casserole, or if you didn't cook a turkey for Thanksgiving, if you, I don't know, went crazy and made ham, you can totally use that instead. Do you smell the butter yet? I do. Okay, now once your carrots are all chopped up, you can scoop them up and add them right to your butter. That's a good little sizzle there. That's how you know your pan is hot enough. Okay, and as your carrots start to cook, you can chop up your onions and celery. So to chop up my onions, I just cut both ends off and then cut it in half and then lay the cut side down, and then you're gonna hold them, and I want you to turn your knife so that it's parallel to the cutting board and just cut gently along the equator. And then I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna make lots of little cuts parallel to each other. I don't want to go all the way through the onion though, because I want the onion to be held together by the end. So I'm just going to make a cut almost all the way through, but not totally, and just keep on going. And it's always good to use a sharp knife. It's safer that way, you'll have more control. And then I'm gonna dice it up. And then once you get to the end, when it's kind of like difficult to cut, you can just put it on your side and chop it up like so. Now I'm just gonna do the same thing with the rest of the onion. And now you can dump your onion into the butter. Warning, your houses are about to smell really good. And now lastly, chop up your celery stalks. So to do that, I first chop them in half like so, and then I turn them and then chop them into little pieces vertically. And as you're chopping, just try to get everything uniformly sized so that they cook evenly. This hot dish that we're making right now is actually a take on the first hot dish that I ever tasted. My mother-in-law made it for me, and she made me her turkey wild rice hot dish. And it was just so comforting and hearty. It's like the kind of food that you crave. And I immediately fell in love. It's a super nostalgic food for people who grew up with it. And I'm just running my knife right down the stalks. making sure to get evenly sized celery pieces. And now you can put these into your pan. Okay. Okay, now add a good pinch of kosher salt. And this is actually gonna help the vegetables cook a little quicker because it's gonna draw the moisture out. You can do 2 pinches if you want, it's kind of a lot of vegetables. Now grab a spoon or spatula and just stir this around and make sure the butter gets all up into all the vegetables. Oh, it smells so good. Do you smell that? Okay, now you should let these cook until they're softened and the onions are translucent, so about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, once your vegetables are soft, now it's time to add the flour. So add 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, and this is gonna help thicken up the sauce. And for those gluten-free friends out there, gluten-free all-purpose flour will also work in this. Okay, so just dump this right into the pan. And the combination of the butter and the flour creates what's called a roux. And that roux paste is gonna be used to thicken up milk to make the creamy sauce. So stir this around. And your pan is gonna start to look dry as the flour gets incorporated, but that's okay, that's what we want. And we just wanna cook it for another minute or 2, and that's gonna cook off the flour flavor. So just make sure the flour gets fully incorporated. And this flour and butter mixture, the roux, is the same thing I use to make mac and cheese, to make any sort of thick, creamy soup, or any sauce. And so knowing how to make a roux is a great thing to have in your repertoire. Okay, now that the flour has cooked a little bit, let's grab our milk. Whole milk, 2%, fat-free milk, those will all do in this. Whole milk will taste the best because it's the fattiest. I usually just eyeball this. We're gonna add 3 cups of milk, but we're gonna add it gradually. We don't wanna add it all at the same time because otherwise the sauce won't thicken properly. So just start with about a cup. You can measure this if you want, or you can eyeball it. And then stir it in. And stir it in pretty well because once that roux combines with the milk, it's gonna thicken the milk into the sauce. Okay, it's starting to look creamy already. And now I'm ready for the 2nd cup of milk. So just gradually pour this in. Okay, and then once that roux mixes into the milk, it's gonna thicken the milk and make the sauce that's gonna hold together the hot dish. This is essentially the homemade version of a canned cream soup, so making it from scratch just makes it even better. I'm ready for the next bit of milk. The bottom of my pan is starting to get a little scorched, so I'm gonna turn the heat down. Oh, this is also a great mixture to use for chicken pot pie. It smells so cozy. I'm gonna add a little bit more. So you wanna stir this mixture continuously until it thickens. So just lean against your counter, stir it slowly, and just enjoy this process. If you guys are smelling what I'm smelling, it smells so good. Okay, this is what your mixture should look like. It's thick, it coats the back of my spatula. It's basically the consistency of a cream soup. Your mixture should be thickened just like this, and now we're gonna flavor it with chicken bouillon. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of this. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Chicken bouillon is one of my favorite ways to add tons of flavor really easily. Okay, stir this in. And then I also like adding some dried rosemary. That herby touch is just perfect. Dried thyme would also be nice. Just get those herbs in there. Or if you have leftover fresh herbs, you could just chop them up and add them to this too. And if you just break it up with your fingers, it helps get the flavors out and it breaks it up into smaller pieces. Okay, and then a little more salt and pepper. And this is just to taste. Ooh, that rosemary smells so good. Stir this in. And then at this point, you should probably taste it to make sure that the flavor is where you want it to be. It's gonna be hot, be careful. How is it? Good? Tastes just like chicken soup. The salt level is where I want it to be, and I'm really getting that rosemary. Okay, now it's time to assemble. So grab all of your Thanksgiving leftovers. I've got my leftover turkey, leftover stuffing, and some wild rice. If you didn't make wild rice at your Thanksgiving feast, just boil some up. And then also grab a casserole dish. Great. Let's make sure everything is ready. So I have some wild rice, which I love. It adds a great chewy nuttiness. And then my stuffing, which is gonna go on top of the hot dish. Stuffing might be my favorite part about Thanksgiving. And then also my leftover turkey. And I don't know about you guys, but we made a gigantic turkey for Thanksgiving this year. So we have a lot of it left over. You want it to be chopped or shredded into little pieces. Grab a ladle. And now to assemble this, just layer all of these ingredients into your casserole dish. So start with about 1/3 of the cream soup mixture. Okay, and then spread it all over the bottom of your casserole dish. Let me get a little bit more in there. And now take your wild rice and scatter a nice layer of wild rice on top of the cream soup. I love the wild rice in this dish. It has great texture. Wild rice is grown everywhere around here, so I'm adding some local flair. Okay, so at this point I'm adding half of my wild rice. All right, and now I'm gonna scatter on a layer of my leftover turkey. So if you're making this and it's not Thanksgiving, but you happen to have either leftover turkey or leftover chicken, you can sub in different proteins. Even like ground beef would work. Okay, so now you have a layer of cream soup, a layer of wild rice, and a layer of your turkey, and now just repeat the process, but save some cream soup because that's gonna go on at the end. All hot dishes are casseroles, but not all casseroles are hot dishes. So in order to be a hot dish, it's basically a full meal in a dish. You've got your protein, your veggies, your starch, and then it all gets held together by a creamy soup. Are you guys with me? All right, so pop quiz. Is mac and cheese a hot dish? Answer, maybe. If it had bacon and peas, it could technically be a hot dish. But if it was just mac and cheese, no. Okay, for the next layer, add more turkey. This is gonna be like a Thanksgiving leftover sandwich, but in a form that you could eat out of a bowl with a spoon. Now we're gonna add the last of our cream soup. This is so thick. Make sure you get every last bit of this cream soup. Now spread it around. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Okay, now the best hot dishes have something great as the topping, whether it's tots or crushed crackers, or today we're gonna be using our leftover stuffing. So just take the stuffing and cover it all over. It's actually like miraculous that I have this much leftover stuffing and that I didn't eat it all yesterday. And any kind of stuffing will work here. Store-bought, homemade, even cornbread stuffing, you name it, it's all good in this dish. Okay, now this is ready to bake. Bake it at 375 for 45 minutes until the edges are bubbly and hot. And if at any time the stuffing starts to look like it could burn, just ted the whole thing with foil. If you want though, you could also just stick it in the fridge and wait to bake it until later tonight or even tomorrow. But I'm hungry now. I'm gonna bake it. Here it is, our Thanksgiving leftover hot dish. Are you smelling this? I've got a taste. The stuffing is so crispy on top. I can't wait to eat this. Okay, warning, it's gonna be so hot, hence the name Hotdish. So one thing that I love to add to this is a little bit of leftover cranberry sauce. The cranberry sauce will cool it down and add a lovely touch of sweetness. It's gonna be great. With other hot dishes, I like to add ketchup. This kind of like does the same thing. Shall we taste it? Let's taste it. The perfect bite of hot dish has all of the components in one bite. So I'm gonna get a little bit of cranberry sauce, some turkey, some of the cream soup, wild rice, and of course stuffing, and in it goes. This hot dish is so cozy and perfect for the fall. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna go enjoy mine on the couch.
I'm gonna make my cheesy meatball sub casserole. In the pan right here, this is very easy. I don't say easy for nothing. I've got onion and green bell pepper and a little bit of olive oil. Hit it with some salt so all of the veggies can get nice and tender. And then once they're close to super tender, that's when you can add in the garlic. You don't wanna brown the garlic, so I get that in. All right, so then over the top, I put some Italian seasoning. Let me come over here and show you the meatballs of the meatball sub. Okay, the reason I say this is easy, we're not gonna make the meatballs. You go straight to the freezer section and get them. There are so many different types. Italian flavored meatballs is what I'm using right now. They have really come up in the game in the freezer section. So this is a pound, and what I've done, as you can see right here, I've just cut them in half. They're already cooked, you can see. So really, when you're using them for anything else, if you're actually making a standard meatball sub, you could just use these, heat them up, and get them into your bread. All right, so vegetables, looking good, smelling good. All right, another store-bought shortcut, some marinara sauce. Get that in there. Now, if you're smart, you get some arrabbiata sauce, right? A little bit spicy if you like that, and it goes really well with the onions and the green bell peppers. So a pound of your meatballs is gonna get mixed with a pound of cheese. And I like to do Monterey, but you can do mozzarella, and that's what this is right here. Just get that right in. Now, it seems like a lot of cheese because it's thinly shredded, but don't worry about it. It's gonna melt down and really hold the casserole together and give us some gooey moments at the end. All right, now, right over the top. Didn't really do much work for this, right? Just saute some veggies and get them right in. Nice and steamy out here. All right, and then just get in here and give it a nice stir. Always lose some to the cause when I'm stirring. That's why I have dogs at home. All right, so I've got my dish that's already been sprayed. You can butter as well, but cooking spray, why not? And then just get this in. Look at that, cheese. You already know what's gonna happen when this cooks down. And it's mozz, come on. I'm just gonna level it a little bit and then get my topping on. Get excited when I see these meatballs coming together. All right, topping, very simple. This is my store-bought shortcut. Croutons, they're already made. You can find some garlic flavored ones, even better. Plus, actually, oh, they came out of the bag. Actually, if you have some leftover croutons from making them at home, perfect. Now I'm gonna show you what to do to get them over the top. Now you think about it, you've got your meatball parm or your meatball sub. So you've got the sauce, you got the cheese, you got the meatballs, and usually I like, you know, the peppers and the onions over the top, so we got all that going on. Now we just need the bread. So, in a bag, just hook up the bread. All right, don't go down too far to like breadcrumb consistency. Still want a couple of boulders left, and that's it. Just get in here and sprinkle. Even distribution. Remember, these are already made, so they've got that buttery, garlicky flavor, just like the bread, good old Italian bread. All right, breadcrumbs over the top. Now, I've got my grill set to 350 degrees. Obviously, you can do your oven inside at 350 degrees. And this really just has to come together and let the cheese melt and those meatballs come up to temperature. So about 20, 25 minutes, and it's good to go. I'm gonna get it in and show you what it looks like. Oh, yeah. All right. Indirect heat when you put it in the grill, so that means the heat would be turned on over here. You put the plate or the tray right here. So I'm gonna make sure that the heat is off on this side and then turn it on over here when I take this off. Oh, look at that. And here you have it, my very easy meatball sub casserole. Come on now. I always like to go in towards the corner and then create my serving size. Look at this, huh? Little cheese pool right there. Meatball sub goodness. Look at that. Team texture with the croutons on top.
Now, root vegetables are great to work with. I mean, everybody loves it. We love potatoes, right? Sweet potatoes play a big role. But one of my favorites to put in this is the celery root. And that's this big monster that you see here. How many times you walk by the grocery store and said, I don't know exactly what it is or who's eating it, but I'm not buying it. Well, this is really one of my favorites. So, take a look at it. How do you clean it up? Well, I'm gonna have to slice it off and get it, just get right down to the base of it, take the skin off it. And that's actually gonna happen with all of these. It's gonna happen with the parsnips. It's gonna happen with the sweet potatoes, and then it's also gonna happen with the straight up russet, okay? Here's the mandolin, probably one of the best tools that you have in the kitchen. You can adjust the height on the deck like this that adjusts the size of the slice. Really nice, easy to wash. So you put it on top of a bowl like this, grab whatever veggies you're gonna start working with, and go. All right, check that out. All of them sliced up. The celery root, the sweet potato, the parsnip, and the russet all done. About a cup or so of heavy cream. We'll get a little bit of salt and some fresh cracked black. Get in, let's see, how much do I have here? Yeah, not quite all of this. Gorgonzola. There you go. Oh, it smells dynamite already. A little tarragon. Little anise flavor in there. Goes great with these root vegetables. Give that a little sprinkle. Okay. And we get a little chicken stock down. Oh, I love these tabs. There we go. Okay. Not too much. There you go. And then the last thing, which you know I gotta do, is hit a little bit of minced garlic in there. And I don't use the press that often, but it seems that when I really want to get it small and quick, like this, that'll work out perfect. Let me just give it one more. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm gonna cook all these down. Now, why did I put them all together? Why are they all the same size? Well, because I want them to cook evenly, and the idea is here is I can kind of mix this whole thing up, throw it into this baking dish, cover it with some tin foil, 400 degrees for about an hour. I pull this out, it's gonna be bubbly, hot, and delicious. Still sizzling. Right on there. So we got sweet potatoes, we've got the parsley, we got sweet potatoes, we got celery root, we've got the whole thing, the parsnips going inside of there.
A butternut squash pasta casserole. It is so hearty and delicious. So to keep things easy, I'm adding a bag of butternut squash from the freezer. You can totally use fresh instead. And then in addition to the squash, I'm gonna add a quart of chicken broth, low sodium, and I'm cranking the heat because I want this to cook until the butternut squash is totally tender. This is a very fall-friendly recipe, but since you can buy butternut squash in the freezer section of the grocery store year-round, you can totally make this whenever you want. Whenever you want. Salt and pepper. Okay, so the butternut squash is gonna cook for 5 minutes until it's soft. Watch the magic happen. I'm gonna turn this into a squashy liquid, which is kind of strange. It doesn't sound all that good, but trust me.
And you can puree it as much or as little as you want to. You can make it a totally smooth puree, or it can be sort of a chunky puree. I like things with some texture. All right, just about done. I see some chunks of butternut in there, but I'm gonna leave them because I think it'll make the casserole more interesting. Okay, so this is so cool because I'm actually gonna pull this casserole together in the casserole pan. So I already cooked some penne, and watch this. This is basically the liquid for the casserole, but it's kind of like butternut squash mac and cheese, you know? It's gonna be delicious, trust me.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, and then I've got a few things to add. Some roasted red pepper, frozen peas,
Wow.
and goat cheese. It kind of combines with the butternut squash, and oh my gosh, the texture and the consistency of this casserole is amazing. Stirring it right in the casserole dish. And this pasta was actually kind of cooked to not quite al dente, so the extra liquid in the casserole will keep the casserole from becoming dry when it bakes, because the pasta is gonna keep absorbing some of that liquid. Ooh, so pretty so far. Now this is a really cool little ingredient to add. I grated cauliflower. So instead of using like a breadcrumb or something, I'm doing cauliflower, and that makes it more veggie forward, more healthy. And then on top of the cauliflower, just for a little extra flavor, some salt and pepper. I love this casserole, and I love casseroles that you can assemble right in the pan. I don't have a whole bunch of different bowls that I'm mixing in. All right, now I've got a whole bunch of mozzarella, since Paige was quick to point out that there wasn't enough cheese in this casserole. And then Parmesan, of course, on top of the mozzarella. Tons of different ingredients going on, but they're all very simple. And then parsley, and I'll save a little bit to sprinkle on at the end. I think this is gonna be amazing. What do you think?
I think so.
All right, let's get this in the oven. We're gonna bake it at 375 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes, and I am so sorry that you have to wait that long. Oh, actually, you don't have to wait that long. Look, 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 look.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That looks incredible. Check it out, you guys.
Wow. All that cheese.
Wow, it looks so good. I think we need to serve it.
Yes.
I think we need
Yes,
to
cut into it.
try it. I think we
Yeah.
need to enjoy it.
Can I try?
Yeah, are you excited to try this, Paige?
I just love goat cheese.
All right, Alex.
Come on. Gotta get sliced cam or scoop cam.
Oh dear.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
nice.
It's
That
basically,
is amazing.
this is basically mac and cheese that took a trip around the world or something. Here, Paige, I'll let you try.
So excited. Okay, one bite review. Trying to get all the good stuff.
One bite review.
One bite. Oh, it smells so good.
Chicken, mushroom, and wild rice casserole. So we got our rice, it's rinsed, it's ready to go here. I got some warm stock going, I got some chicken, I got all the accoutrement. But we started with some butter, some shallot, and some nice quartered mushrooms, right? You can use a little baby bellas, the porcinis, whatever. White mushrooms, whatever you can get. I just like to keep them thick because we're gonna cook this a while. I want them to maintain some of that integrity here. That shallot got super caramelized. Deep, rich color on the mushrooms as well. That's all developing flavors. Next, a little bit of garlic. Now you want to move quickly, make sure when you put your garlic in there, you got your liquid near, because once that garlic cooks, it's done, it's gonna burn. We don't want that. Next, we're gonna deglaze with a little bit of sherry.
Sherry, bold, with a casserole?
Hey, man, this Midwest is not simple stuff. We're flavorful, hearty people. and
Think
this
of chicken marsala.
Yep.
It's halfway to marsala.
Exactly. I mean, this with anything is great. Next, you take your wild rice. While that's simmering, kind of toast it up in the remnants of that sherry and that shallot. It's going to soak in there. Super flavorful right now. Wild rice takes a long time.
Yes.
It does.
Okay?
It's like 40 minutes, right?
Exactly. It's very hearty, but it's worth it. The payoff, I promise you, It's so good for you. It's such a different chew and earthy flavor than your normal long grain rice or basmati or anything like that. So we're gonna let that go, toast up a little bit. It's sucking up all that beautiful booze. Now we got our warm stock. And this is about 5 cups. You need about 4 cups for this is perfect, but just in case you got some
Evaporation.
1 bay leaf, 1 little sachet of fresh thyme. Mushroom, thyme, sherry go hand in hand with that shallot. Wonderful flavor combination. We got the stock boiling here. We are gonna cover it, okay? 1 hour.
What's the ratio?
What's the ratio?
Like a 3 to 1, right?
Yeah, like a
4 to
cup of
1.
rice to 4 cups of
4 to 1.
stock. The absorption level is off the charts, okay? So this is going in the oven for an hour. Thanks, Geoffrey. I got one ready to go here. Bottom one, please, buddy. You cover it in the oven, right? Season it as well, right? Plenty of salt, which I, neglected to do, but obviously season it. So heavy. I think it got heavier from all the absorption. And this is what it looks like when it absorbs all that beautiful stock and flavor. These grains of rice kind of start splitting open. You could see the whites in there. We could take the bay leaf out now. We don't need to wrestle with that later. Now we layer the second portion, which is the meat. You're not having grains without meat in the middle. There's always going to be meat on the table. So we're going to use wonderful chicken breast here. And I'm going to mix a blend of spices here, some cracked pepper. We got, of course, some kosher salt and some coriander.
Yum.
Oh, I love
And this is just like a simple little spice mixture, but I want to coat everything because we're going to bake in this. I don't want the chicken to get lost. And I also just don't want it screaming white when we take it out of there, right? I want it to look like it's caked in flavor, and we are going to hit with a little olive oil, okay? You can spread it around nice, and then we're going to let it rain, right? You could do this in a bowl.
I love them.
And then, so I'm just going to pinch it simply, but total dust. All right, we're gonna flip this over, do the other end, right? That olive oil will make it stick, and then we can just hit the rest. But the other side is our presentation side, so we wanna make sure that's the prettiest. This is kind of that interior of the breast. But that is all additional flavor. Little dried cranberries.
Gotta have them.
Gotta have little sweetness in there. They're gonna plump up real nice. We're gonna mix that up.
Are they going back in the oven?
Right? Maybe a little just to, because this is gonna cook for another 20 to 25 minutes. So we want that chicken to hit to 165, okay? Just because it's a casserole doesn't mean you can't tempt your meat in there, right? Look at that, beautiful. And we're gonna just kind of.
I mean, I guess it's technically kind of like a smothered chicken.
Exactly.
Which could be a smothered chicken casserole.
Yeah.
Look
I
at
mean,
how.
when I think smothered chicken, I obviously think cream and...
I mean, chicken and rice, I think I've grown up eating chicken and rice my whole life. Usually it's roasted, but there's always rice on the side, usually pilaf. This is far more interesting.
One more thing here, Sonny, I'm putting my final touches on here. You're gonna love this. We're gonna shingle some fresh lemon slices, just kind of free form in there. Give it a little artistic flourish here. You don't see in a lot of casseroles,
Nor in Minnesota.
Yeah, but I like the
Look at that.
bitterness the lemon's gonna give everything. I actually
Little
love that
acid.
flavor note.
Help me out there, friend.
Up or down?
We'll do the upski, because I got one ready to go here.
I took a peek. I snuck a peek.
Oh, man.
Oh, you did a left arm uppage.
And look at this beautiful chicken and wild rice casserole.
That is delightful.
Or bake, all in one sheet here. And you see kind of the crust that formed on there.
You can
Look at
serve it just
see-
like that, right? You just go.
That's it. You don't need anything else.
Boom.
Maybe some crusty bread with this would
Crusty
be
bread,
nice.
Yeah.
little cilantro.
Yeah, and I like that because the wild rice doesn't feel heavy. It's not like when you eat a big bowl of, say, basmati rice or whatever. And really, you kind of pilafed this a little bit.
Yes, I
'cause
did.
He
it's
did. He
baked.
pilafed it. That's a verb,
People aren't
right?
pilafing enough these days. You can hit the rest of it when you present it with just a little parsley, nothing fancy, right?
I love how plump the cranberries got.
So nice. We're gonna go taper it
Oh.
on perch. I
Oh,
knew
man.
it's
Oh,
juicy.
God.
Good.
Yeah, coriander.
Making me hungry.
You're like, don't omit, first of all, do not skip the coriander because it gives you that wild, feral vibe in here, you know? I feel like a wildcat. Chicken's cooked perfectly. The mushrooms and the twosomeness of this rice is fantastic.
An homage to my mom, I'm making a shepherd's pie. All right? Okay, so Sonny's already starting. Again, very simple, humble ingredients. Potato, some milk, some sour cream, butter, and eggs. She is ricing potatoes. The secret to this is they must be warm. Cooking them completely in salted water from cold.
That's right.
And you must cook them. There's nothing worse than an undercooked potato.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Unless you're gonna fry them again, you gotta really do it this way. And this is a ricer. This is a fantastic machine. What this does is it lets the potato get to a state where you can mash it without getting gummy.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest problem. No, okay? So to that, she's gonna add warm milk, sour cream, warm butter. This is not clarified butter, just regular melted butter, a good amount of salt and pepper, and 2 egg yolks. And these are gonna be added at the end so they don't cook. And we're just gonna get them all in, whipped together.
All right.
Okay, and these are just 2
got it,
egg yolks.
Chef.
You got it?
Got it.
Okay, so right here I have some onions and a casserole with rosemary. You can add garlic if you want. I just like the onions. And I'm gonna get them almost to the point where they're like kind of crusty. Okay, and then I'm gonna add ground lamb. We eat a lot of lamb in my household growing up. Back then it was really inexpensive.
It was.
So this is just ground lamb. You can use beef, you can use turkey, you can use whatever you want. Like I said, it's a casserole. What does that mean? It's a leftover.
That's right.
So go for it. And we have potatoes that will make anybody happy. I used to make this a lot of times in restaurants when I started to work in restaurants, and it was called hachis parmentier.
What?
Yeah. And this was staff meal, okay?
Yeah.
And this was staff meal means, you know, all the chefs are cooking very fancy French food, and what do they want to eat at lunchtime? Not fancy French. They want the
big hearty,
opposite,
yeah.
right? Because you don't want what you're actually cooking all day. So this is very filling, and I just love it because it's just so satisfying. So we're gonna get that, a little salt and pepper, let it go, caramelize, and this is what it looks like after about 4 or 5 minutes. It's all nice and brown here, okay? And to that, we're gonna add a little bit of flour, just to thicken it a touch, some tomato paste, and a little bit of sherry wine vinegar.
Was this like something when you knew your mom was making shepherd's pie, you were excited to sit down at the table? Or was this like something, a shepherd's pie again?
No,
I can't wait to
well,
elevate
she
it
would
when
make
I'm
a lot of
professional
these. She would
chef.
make a lot of casseroles, and it's not necessarily shepherd's pie. It's like anything in a casserole, this methodology. So it could be potato with cabbage. She would make it with meatless. I didn't even know it was meatless.
A casserole is so comforting.
Oh, it's so comforting.
Isn't it? It does take you right back to your childhood. Anything mashed potato.
Okay, how you doing over there, son?
Really good. I aggressively salted it. Did you want pepper in this at all?
Yes.
Okay.
And to this, we're gonna add some pearl onions. Kind of fancy. You don't have to add pearl onions. I love onions.
You can get the frozen kind.
You can get the
That's so
frozen
easy.
kind. Some carrots and peas. You can add whatever you have again.
So you cooked those pearl onions before you put them in?
Yes.
Got a little color on them?
Yes, you don't have to, but I just did. Some parsley. A good amount of parsley. Really important.
You guys know the difference between shepherd's pie and cottage pie?
It's the meat.
What does shepherd's pie always have? in it?
Lamb.
And what does cottage pie have? in it?
Beef.
Beef.
Yes, exactly.
So, if you can take a look at this, you see we have, I mean, you know it's gonna be good, right? You have the little vinegar, the tomato, the flour's gone, basically. It's gonna do its job in about 2 seconds when I add some stock. You can add water, chicken stock, beef stock, vegetable stock, anything just like that. And then the magic. Sonny's gonna give us we're gonna put this right on top. I'm gonna bring this over here, Sonny, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. You don't even have to get a
No, I
casserole
trust
dish
you.
out.
Here.
You trust me?
I trust you.
Oh my God.
My
Hold
sous
on.
chef. You gotta
Let
trust
me
your
do
sous
one more
chef.
taste. You do.
Otherwise,
but-
you're gonna be in the kitchen all day long yourself.
Yeah, it's perfectly.
Okay. Put the entirety of that on top. When I mean entirety, this will serve 10 people.
Great ratio.
Jeffrey, let me ask you,
Yes.
this is your childhood favorite. Is it becoming your children's childhood favorite?
Unfortunately, they don't get things so homey. They do get homey stuff, but I haven't actually made this for them yet. But now I'm going to.
Keep the tradition going.
This is just beautiful. Sonny's just, look at Sonny. Wow.
Well, I mean, it's meat and potatoes.
It is
GZ.
meat and potatoes.
I'm in my happy place. You
All
know
right,
what
you
I'm
ready
saying?
to get really happy?
Are you gonna do your thing?
I'm gonna do my thing.
Oh,
I think I see what's coming.
Melted butter.
Oh,
Oh,
that is just-
yeah.
I know.
I got you hills and valleys. Should I have leveled it off better?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Wow.
Hills and valleys and Parmesan cheese.
Okay.
Or any other cheese you have grated in the box. Doesn't really matter.
American?
Not American. Okay? Could you open the oven for me?
Yeah, I got you.
No, that'd be good, though.
375.
I'm starting to think about
Bottom
it.
oven,
On
please.
mashed potatoes?
375
Hello.
for at least 40 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, gonna get all nice and brown and
take that one
crusty
home.
over there.
Here we go.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. Can you
Oh,
see that?
stop it.
Oh,
wow.
look
Wow. Right here. We sat in the right place.
Oh, okay, you have hills and valleys in that too.
Yeah, well, you know, it's just painted kind of. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
Look at that guy right there. That's
Yes.
like McKinley. That's K2.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That is gorgeous.
So that's what it should look like. A little parsley
Gorgeous.
for you.
Oh,
And carrots always
for
reminds
moi?
me of childhood.
Oh, man, I'm making this.
This is very simple.
Yes.
And the great thing is the potato is fortified with those eggs. So extra little, you know, something, something.
Ooh, woo. Gigi, only you could make a humble shepherd's pie.
Oh,
Tastes like $1 million.
Oh, $1 million.
humble pie.
This is
Thank you.
delicious. And the lamb really does make all the difference.
It's good. the lamb.
Because it's so rich. And then you add those creamy mashed potatoes to it. You get a little sweetness from the peas and carrots. I'm making a slow cooker hash brown casserole. Now, you can bring this dish to your game in your slow cooker, so make it at home, and then it'll just stay warm on your way there. So we're gonna start off with a bag of frozen hash browns. You don't need to thaw these out. Just put them straight into the slow cooker, frozen.
That's great. You don't need to grate them, peel, grate, squeeze out the water, none of that. It's all
No, it's
ready
just the
to go.
potatoes, ready to go. And you know, this is kind of inspired by, you probably know about this, Jeff, the Midwest dish, the Hotdish.
No, I've never had that. I mean,
Hotdish?
Chicago's its own
Really?
country in the Midwest, I like.
Okay, well,
Kind
in
of-
Midwest, there's a lot of casseroles that are made with usually the little potato tot.
Yes, right?
Yeah, so we're doing it with hash browns, and I'm making a Western omelet-inspired one.
Oh, I love
So I've got some onions going in there, just chopped onions. Ham, a little diced ham. Now you could jazz this up however you like. If you don't want ham, you could put some cooked sausage in there. That would be good too. Some bacon, or you could just make it all veggies. Red bell pepper, and I've got a little grated cheddar cheese here.
Oh, the cheese just goes right in there.
Yeah, it just goes right in, and then I'm gonna make what binds it all together. Kind of like when you make like a French toast casserole,
Like
you
a
always
custard?
have the egg, the custard. So I've got 6 eggs here, some whole milk going in.
I love this.
Yeah, and then I put in sour cream for some
Oh my
extra
God,
richness.
we're hitting all the buttons here, all
Yeah.
the Midwestern. Where's the ranch go?
Kind of like ranch, doesn't it? All right, I got a little garlic powder going in there.
This is like
Let's
kind of a
put some
quiche, no?
salt.
It's kind of quiche-y.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, or
keep
like
your fancy
or like
foods away
a
from football.
Spanish frittata that has
Yeah.
the potato and egg. Now Gigi's gonna like it.
I'm
Exactly.
liking it already. I didn't understand it.
Yes, now you do.
And some black pepper. You want to be sure to put a good amount of salt in this because this is your only chance to salt the potatoes, really. And those, as we know, need a lot of salt. So just really whisk it up, get those egg yolks all mixed together, get the sour cream all in there.
What's the furthest you've driven for a game? Because the cool thing about the slow cookers is, yeah, it holds the heat
10
for about
minutes.
2 hours. But you can also get those car adapters if you're really looking into it.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes when I'm on 78 going to a game, I'll see a car coming from Pennsylvania.
Oh, you
That is
got-
a long drive.
Okay, some cream cheese goes in there as well.
Oh, that's like
Why not have a little bit more dairy going on?
Are you seriously just put
crazy.
cream cheese in there?
And just give it a gentle whisk. The cream cheese, you're not gonna get it all the way mixed in. It's okay. It's kind of nice to have some chunks of it in there because it gets
I
nice
thought
and
that was mozzarella when I
ooey-gooey.
saw that.
Same here, same here.
Hey, that would be good too. You could do like an Italian version of this and there'd be nothing wrong with that. Okay, goes right into our slow cooker.
I love a
Just like
dumpling
that.
cook. This is gonna be awesome.
And then I'm gonna mix the whole thing.
What?
And it's gonna look soupy, but the potatoes are gonna absorb that liquid and it's gonna turn into this wonderful creamy casserole. It's got actually everything you need for breakfast in here. Your eggs, your potatoes. This is also great. You got house guests. Put this on, and in the morning, everybody has breakfast right there.
Well,
You're
if
gonna
you
crinkle
properly
some bacon over the top? Because you said there's everything we need for breakfast.
Well, ham, there's ham in
Okay,
there.
there's ham in there. I missed that. All right,
Okay,
I'm ready.
so this goes in the slow cooker, 4 hours on high or 6 hours on low. I've done it 8 hours on low as well, and it works. It just starts to get a little bit done. Now, I like to top it with some freshness, so I've got some green onions here. I'm just gonna slice through those nice and thin.
Wait a minute, Katie, you said you go 10 minutes to a game. Where were you and what game were you going to?
In Huntington, West Virginia, to the Thundering Herd, Marshall University.
Shout out!
Yeah, everybody there likes to tailgate. That is the big thing to do on the weekends. All right, here we go. An hour before it's done, put your cheese on the top of it. Some more cheese, because we like lots of cheese. Half hour to an hour, it'll melt.
If it's
Look at that!
Oh, that just came
Look at
together.
that. Let's top it with some of these. And then I like to serve it with a little hot sauce. Just a little sprinkle of hot sauce there. And then, Jeff, do you eat ketchup on your hash
No,
browns?
not at all.
No,
Please do
okay.
not do that.
Then I won't put any on yours.
Nope.
I like ketchup on it.
It's gonna come right out with it. Look at this. That thing is, look at that. It's like
That's substantial.
That is substantial. This will get you through two hours from now when you dip into the
When it's
sausage.
cold outside.
It looks so hot, I blew. I don't know what that was all about. I really did.
I felt that. Oh man.
Molten hot.
Katie, this is like everything you need. It's like it's the ultimate portable breakfast, right? Because if you make this ahead of time, you know, if you properly tailgate, you get there early and you need some sustenance, and this is gonna provide that sustenance. It's cheesy, potato-y, hammy, eggy, everything, and that hot sauce gives it that extra zing at the end.
Green bean casserole. I start by blanching a pound of green beans, and I season it, as I say, with salt. Now, I didn't use fancy little French green beans. I just used straight up good old American string beans. This is just a quick blanch. I go straight into an ice bath. Going straight from hot to cold, you wanna make sure you're really cooling down your vegetables. That's how you get that extra crispy texture and you keep that vibrant green color. And then I just spread them out to drain them to get any excess water out of them. Now, there's not only green beans in a green bean casserole, there's also one of my favorite supermarket friends, white button mushrooms. I start with just 12 ounces of cleaned white button mushrooms. And while I slice these, I'll just heat up a tablespoon of butter. Then I just slice up my mushrooms. And then I drop the mushrooms in. And this is nice and easy. Season those mushrooms with a little bit of salt. And to give them a little pizzazz, 2 cloves of garlic, which I'll just grate and drop right into the mushrooms. I'll just let this cook down, and you'll see right away the liquid from the mushrooms will start seeping out. The smell of the garlic with the butter and the mushrooms is just gonna start to really come together. But to give it a little kick, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of Dijon mustard and a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Sift in 3 tablespoons of flour. It's gonna bring this green bean casserole together and give it nice body. Give it a nice stir. I really feel those mushrooms have cooked a little and they're just begging for a little richness. And I've chosen 2 very good weapons, sour cream and heavy cream. Measure out a cup, and maybe a little more because it's Thanksgiving, and drop that right in there. And to top that off, 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream. Okay, so once the sour cream and the cream have had a minute to melt down, I'm gonna add my green beans in. I just love how these green beans just liven this up. I really feel this meal coming together. It's one of those times when I take a little Thanksgiving time out and just make a little garnish to make something extra special. So I'll take just 3 shallots that I peeled and broke into rounds. You can see that? To make them nice and crispy, I'll just drizzle them with a little flour. And to that, for a little panache, a pinch of the cayenne. These crispy little suckers are gonna go on top of our green bean casserole and create that crispy texture. And now, we fry. So I always test one first. And it should come up to the surface, nice and gentle. I love that sound. So you're putting together a green bean casserole. Don't forget those crispy shallots on top, though. That's that finishing touch.
Next thing on the menu is the soul food classic, cream corn casserole. I'm using about 8 ears of corn, fresh corn, that I'm just cutting off the cob, get all that good corn milk or just that starch that's inside the cob. That's gonna help get that casserole nice and creamy. So an easy way to cut the kernel off the cob is to get a big bowl, then get a smaller bowl, flip the bowl over, to where the bottom is exposed and put your ear of corn on top and just using a chef's knife, just cut down on the cob. And so to get the milk out of the cob, just take the back of your chef's knife and just gently press down on it. You see all that milk coming out? So what I'm doing here is making my creamed corn. My butter is melted. I'm gonna add my corn. Right now I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of whole milk, a few pinches of salt, a little black pepper. Okay. Now I just need this to cook and kind of thicken up. And you know what? A little extra butter ain't ever hurt nobody. I'm gonna actually add a 1/2 stick of butter to this. I want this to be creamy and cheesy and buttery. Start off with boxed corn muffin mix. I'm adding in 1 cup of sharp shredded cheddar cheese. This entire container of sour cream is gonna add a little tang to it. And 2 eggs. And I'm just whisking it until I see no more streaks of that cornmeal. Okay. Now to add that creamed corn. The consistency of this casserole is gonna be a little crunchy from those fresh kernels of corn, creamy, and it's gonna have a nice layer of brown cheese on top. I have a 9x13 casserole dish here that I've sprayed with some nonstick spray. Pour my mixture right into the casserole dish. And last but not least, I'm gonna top it off with some more cheddar cheese. Okay, my oven is preheated to 350. I'm gonna bake this uncovered for about 35 to 40 minutes, or until the top is nice and bubbly and golden brown.
My Brussels sprout casserole, which is comforting and decadent, and the whole thing gets covered in crispy, salty onions. Plus, it's a snap to make. I just throw everything into a pot and bake. So I've got this pot heating over medium heat. I'm gonna add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. I've got my 2 pounds of Brussels sprouts here that are quartered. And for me, Brussels sprouts have always been the perfect Thanksgiving vegetable, not the green beans. Brussels sprouts are in season in Thanksgiving, so it just makes sense. I'll dump these right in. They're already starting to crackle and pop. And I'll stir them around and just let them get some color all over the outside. These are looking glossy and golden and gorgeous. I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of butter now. There is no shortage of butter on Thanksgiving in our house. I'll let this melt. Okay, this smell is Thanksgiving now. It wasn't just Brussels sprouts, it's Brussels sprouts and butter. I've got some leeks, which I've soaked and rinsed, and these will add some nice sweetness. This is a lot of veggies, but they all cook down. I'll stir these around and let the leeks soak up that butter. I'll add a sprinkle of salt and some pepper. Oh my gosh, it smells so good right now. Thanksgiving perfume, get on it. Okay, while these continue to soften, I'll add some sliced garlic and earthy thyme. There are so many delicious flavors in this dish. Now that my veggies are soft, I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of flour. And this is gonna combine with the butter and the oil to create a roux that's gonna thicken up my liquids. And it's gonna make this so creamy. I'm gonna stir this around and let it cook for about a minute so that that flour flavor can cook off. I'll add 2 cups of low sodium chicken stock and let everything thicken up and get cozy. All right, call me crazy, but I feel like the true MVP of Thanksgiving is heavy cream. It makes the vegetables better. You put it on the pumpkin pie. It's everywhere. I'm stirring an entire cup of heavy cream into this thing. And I've brought it to room temperature just so that it cooks evenly. It was looking great already. Now it's looking great plus. There's so much flavor in my hands right now. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. It's been grated. That just adds that salty umami-ness. A couple of teaspoons of Dijon mustard will add that zippiness that makes Brussels sprouts sing. And lastly, some lemon zest. Let me stir this all together. Oh, that cream is really thickened up. This is so decadent. And now for the best part, the crispy fried onions. And I'm not gonna hold back here. I want a thick layer of crunchiness on top. I'll spread these out. This is beautiful. It's gonna get even more beautiful in the oven though. I'm gonna bake it at 400 degrees for 20 minutes until it's golden and bubbly around the edges. I'm gonna need my eating pans for this one. These Brussels sprouts are a good time, if I do say so myself.
I'm always up for a good time.
Green bean casserole is a classic comfort food, and it's perfect for potluck. I see it at pretty much every potluck we ever have at our church. I've got some butter that I melted in a pan, and I sprinkled in a 1/4 cup of flour. And I'll just whisk this together. I'm basically making a roux as the basis for a sauce. And I'll just let that cook around for a couple minutes. And while that's cooking, I'll measure some milk and 1/2 and 1/2, which I think makes for a pretty darn good green bean casserole. I'll do 2 1/2 cups of whole milk and a little 1/2 and 1/2, about 1/2 cup. All right, this is cooked and it's looking good. So I'm just gonna pour the milk and whisk it as it goes in. With the classic green bean casserole, creamy soup is one of the ingredients. So this is sort of to replace the creamy soup. All right, this is gonna take a few minutes to bubble up. I'm gonna go ahead and season it with a little salt, plenty of pepper. Why is black pepper so good in white sauce? They just go together. And a little cayenne. This is another thing that sets it apart from the traditional green bean casserole. It's got a little bit of a kick to it. Now I'll just let this cook for a few minutes and thicken and bubble up. And I'm gonna grate some cheddar cheese. You can also do Monterey Jack cheese, which would keep the dish nice and white and creamy. Okay, now I'll let the cheese melt into the sauce. This is gonna turn into a wonderful, delicious cheese sauce. And then I'm gonna add this skillet full of utter deliciousness. I just fried 4 slices of bacon cut into pieces in a skillet over medium heat for about 2 minutes. Then I added 1/2 a large onion that I diced, a finely diced red bell pepper, 3 cloves of minced garlic, then cooked them for 3 to 5 minutes. Oh, this smells so good. Bacon smells good no matter what you cook it with. Then I'll just stir it. And that's the sauce for the green bean casserole. Okay, now for the green beans. I blanched these green beans, and that's part of what sets this apart from your average green bean casserole, which is commonly made with canned green beans. I just blanched the green beans, threw them into boiling water for about a minute, minute and a half, and then I plunged them into ice water to stop the cooking process. And what that did is it just brightened them up, made them really, really beautiful and green, and it's gonna let them stay crisp in this casserole. All right, I'll just even those up, and then the sauce gets poured all over the top. Oh my word, this looks good. And it smells good. It's gonna taste good. Who knew green bean casserole could be so decadent? Yummy. Then I'll just spread it to even it out. And then for the top of the casserole, I like to use panko breadcrumbs, which are nice and crisp and crunchy. The traditional topping for green bean casserole is usually French fried onions or crumbled potato chips, and I like those too. But this is just a nice updated change. All right, you gotta try this. It is so good.